Speaking of Man United, though, obviously a really big game this weekend against Arsenal, Lawless. How do you see this going?
Do you know what? I see you getting something from this game. Call me crazy, but listen, this is Man United all over. This is modern Man United all over. Is you can be shit. You can get slapped 4-0 by Palace. You can get battered for 90 minutes by Arsenal at Old Trafford, but still come away with a point or something like that. And I can honestly see that. Obviously, Arsenal, I think apart from COVID season, haven't won a game at Old Trafford in, I think, 10 years or something.
Since 2006, yeah.
They've won 4 games.
Oh, over 10 years. Jeez.
They've won. I only got told this the other day by Tevin, one of our members and super chatters. They've won 4 times at Old Trafford in 34 years.
Yeah, there you go. You know what I mean? I mean, look, these things are always made to be broken. We know that. But the fact that that's there, and no matter, regardless of whether they've been good and you've been crap, or you've been good and they've been crap, it's been very rare. If there's ever a time for them to win at Old Trafford, it's this time. But yeah, obviously, if you've got a couple of players back, you're not the favourites. You're clear underdogs. But I would not be surprised if Man United came away with something from this game. I really wouldn't. It's we've seen it so many times. From look at Liverpool. The Liverpool game is a clear example of how you just shithouse the result. You know, and I can see that this weekend. This is going to be huge.
No chance. I'm telling you right now, no chance. I said this to Arsenal. I said this to Dan Potts yesterday. I said, remember that 8-2? This is the best chance for you guys to get revenge for that 8-2 than you're ever going to get again. You better take that chance. Because we've had relegation teams and championship teams in recent weeks pull up to face us and put 2 and 3 past us. Coventry put 3 past us. Sheffield put 2 past us, even though we beat them. I forgot how if we drew 1-1 or 2-2 with Burnley. We played so many shittier oppositions. Even Palace, no disrespect to Palace, they're not a big club, but they're very good right now. But they put 4 past us. For Arsenal to look at all this and come in and not have confidence in finishing this game in the first 60 minutes, anything but that, I'm not going to lie to you. You look at it and you're like, wow, we didn't have a good day today. I don't even want to entertain the fact that they might not take all 3 points. If they don't take all 3 points, Arteta should be sacked. Not this season. He should get sacked in the tunnel, and all the players should walk back to London. They should not be allowed back on the bus. If you don't put this United team to the sword, I'm not even saying beat them comfortably. Just the fact, to entertain the fact that they might not pick up all 3 points against United, it's crazy. The only reason, and let's just be honest, the only reason why anyone would think United could get something out of this game is because it's in Old Trafford. So you're putting it on the fans and on the occasion and on the stadium. It's not really anything that has to do with football. When you look at this team, footballing wise, there's no logical reason why you can tell me we can even score a goal, because they have the better attack, the better midfield, and the better back line. They have the least goals conceded all season, and they scored the most goals all season. Their midfield is going to destroy our midfield. I don't even know who's going to start for us in the back line and in midfield, but I already know they're going to destroy us. It's going to come down to how many goals they want to score. They better not do what Liverpool did. I understand you mentioned that game. Liverpool had 14 shots before we had our first goal. Our first goal came from our first shot, and it was a halfway line shot. Bruno hit it from the halfway line. So it's not really a chance. It's just something that happened, like a freakish goal. So that was on Liverpool, why they didn't put us to the sword. To have 14 shots while we have 0 not scored, that's on them. Arsenal are a better Joe team than Liverpool. And I understand, by the way, what you're saying, because anything can happen at the end of the day in a football game. But we already know that. Anyone can beat anyone. We've seen Celtic beat prime Barcelona with, I don't know, like 20% possession. Things can happen in football. But there's no reason
they had
why
over
this
30 shots against us at the Emirates, Staffy, and we came away with a 2-0 win. You know, they had multiple shots at the Emirates in December. That was in December. But I've seen it with them. It is possible for Arsenal to be wasteful and to not put away chances. Havertz, we've seen it with plenty of time. So it's possible.
But we allow we're the second highest team in allowing shots against us in the whole league. So unless you're playing Sheffield, you're getting the most chances in any game against United. I think we're allowing 17.7 to Sheffield 17.9. Let's be honest, we have a relegation team backline right now with the way we're allowing all these shots. So a team like Arsenal, who's been putting teams to the sword, and they have all the motive in the world to win this game because they want to go ahead and win a league. And the City play before or after? I think City played before. Let's say City drop points. That's even more reasons for you guys to win. Because if Arsenal don't win, I really do mean this. If they don't win this game, sack Arteta right away. Sack Arteta. This is the worst United team I've seen ever, and I already told you guys the stats earlier. I don't want to say it again. 8th and under 58 points, which are our worst 2 seasons. Where this is technically and factually the worst United team they can ever play, and this is probably the best Arsenal team in 20 years, and they've been destroying all these teams. They should at least, and I'm going to get to the predictions later, but they should at least put 3 past us. This game should finish in the first 60 minutes. If it goes beyond 60 minutes, they did a bad job.
Terry, I need to know from you, how conflicted are you going into this? Look, it's been no secret that you've wanted to see Arsenal win the league because you don't want Man City to do the 4-peat. So going into this, if you take points off Arsenal and you're the team that hands Man City that 4-peat, takes the title away from Arsenal, how are you feeling going into this, and how will you feel if you achieve that?
Monday was so painful to watch, although I expected to lose, because although I've been called out a lot this year for being too negative, and I don't feel like I'm being negative. I feel like I'm being realistic. I get called out. Why don't you have more chest? Why don't you show more confidence? Why don't you big the team up? People have even said, why do I speak like with more like, why am I more what's the word I'm looking for? Why do I praise City and Arsenal more than I praise Man United? And I'm honestly shocked by these questions. They throw me every time. I was so heartbroken by Monday's performance that I don't know how I'm going to feel the second the game kicks off, or how I'll feel when the game ends, right? But right now, my mind has changed. Right now, and I can't quite articulate why. And maybe it's pride, maybe it's just I'm desperate for some form before this FA Cup final because it's a trophy. And if we were to win it, if we could get a little bit of form and we were to win it, it would put a silver lining through what has been an awful season, because it is a trophy. It's a big trophy, and we're only a couple behind Arsenal. And, I want to have the most amount of trophies in all the sectors. So I do want to win now. My mind has really changed on it, but it's because sort of my pride as a Man United fan is hurt. And although it may lead to a 4-peat, there's just something about, I feel like Man United really need a win right now. I feel like we just really need it as a football club. Now, after the game, if we were to win, I'd celebrate. I might then calm down from that and go, oh, bloody hell, City doing a 4-peat right now. And I have worried about that all season. And I don't want City to do it still. I don't want them to. But there's a part of me right now that feels my own club getting some wins, my own club having a good day, just feels really important. If that makes sense. It just feels really important. If we'd have beaten Palace and we had a lot of games recently that we should have won, whether by performance or we're leading, if we'd have beaten Chelsea when we should have done, if we'd have held on to that lead against Brentford, the smash and grab, if we'd have beaten Burnley when we're 1-0 up, we'd have had enough points now. We'd been in Europe. That would be secure. And if we lose this game, it doesn't change our season. But I sort of feel now like it kind of does. And if we can put in a performance and get a draw, if we can put in a performance and nick a win, maybe, just maybe, it will give the players a little bit more belief going into that massive game at Wembley 2 weeks later, which we've got almost no chance of winning as things stand. But I do want to win it, because it would still be silverware. And, to be at our worst ever in the Premier League era, but to still pick up a trophy, it is a little bit of a punch on the nose to certain teams who have had periods in the Prem where they've been brilliant, like, say, Tottenham, and not won anything. So for me, still, there's still some pride to salvage. And the last few weeks has just changed my mind. So, yeah, I kind of feel very differently now about it to what I maybe did 2 or 3 weeks ago. And maybe it's because of the losses. We're on the eve of it. But, yeah, my mindset has somewhat changed. Like, if Arsenal win, again, I hope it isn't a beating. There's no way I can sit there and be happy if we lose 6-0. I just can't. It doesn't matter about the ramifications to the league. That won't feel good to me. And if we are going to lose the game, let's make it hard for him, eh? At the very least, you go, do you know what? I'm disappointed we lost. I was happy with the way we played. But reading more of the leaks that have just come out now, and they're all from a Brazilian outlet, don't think Anthony's doing it. It's 100% Casemiro that's leaking this information. It doesn't fill me with any hope. Listen to this, Staffy. Listen to this. I read it while you were talking a minute ago. So this states here, before Man United's 2-0 win versus Everton at Old Trafford, which we were awful in, but we got 2 penalties. It says that Ten Hag spent a number of hours explaining to the team that Everton would play at Old Trafford with low lines. I think he means low blocks. With low lines without pressing the ball. So the team set up and trained for that. The game started and the exact opposite happened. Everton stifled Man United's defense from the first second, then had at least 4 good chances in the opening 15 minutes. United ended up winning through 2 penalties, but this was one of many cases that increased the players' distrust in the manager. And I don't like the leaks coming out. And maybe there's confirmation bias here from me, but it feeds into how I feel when I look at I understand why the players don't buy into it. We get it wrong all the time. And imagine you spend all week working on a system and then the team would come up against do the complete opposite. If this is happening regularly, of course players are going to lose faith in you. Why would they not? They'd lose faith in any leader. If you say this is what's going to happen and the opposite happens on multiple occasions, people lose faith in you. So yeah, look, I want to win this weekend, but I'd love to have some chest, but all I can see is an Arsenal win. I just hope it isn't an embarrassing defeat, if that makes sense.
I'm personally checked out. There's nothing that can happen this weekend that will make me upset. I have chosen to not have my my mood affected by United anymore. Because I've hit rock bottom to the point where like I just checked out and I said anything that happens for the rest of the season, it won't make me happy and it won't make me sad. The season for me has been a write-off for weeks now. In fact, a couple months. I never believed you'd get Europe, and this game won't do anything to me. If we lose,
forget about the season, Staffy. History.
I'm not.
You don't want that. You don't want a drama. You don't want them to destroy you. But you're at Old Trafford.
I lost 7 to Liverpool last season. I lost 6 to City. I lost 4 to Palace. Lost 4 to Brentford. Brother, I've been getting battered for 2 years. This one is just another one. Another one bites the dust. You know, DJ, another one. That's it. That's what it is for me, bro. I've already been in the mud. You think if I beat Arsenal, am I actually going to bend to them? Yeah, I might just take a quick dig at a gal just to piss him off. You know, a couple of these Arsenal fans, and that's it. But that's it. It doesn't really mean anything to me. I'm not going to go online. I'm going to brag about the win because I know it'll probably be another paper over the crack. Excuse me, another paper over the crack. It doesn't really mean anything to me. I feel like this game just means more to United fans that live in London. If I'm being very honest with you, every United fan that I spoke to that lives in London wants to win this game. Everyone who doesn't live in London, or the majority, doesn't care. And I'll tell you, me personally, I don't know any Arsenal fans here in the US. Like, I personally don't know them. There's a lot of them. I personally don't know them. So I'm not going to lose sleep over it. But in terms of getting battered by our rival, yes, I hear that. Because of the history, yes, I hear that. AFTV are going to mock us after that. Yes, I hear that. All that, I understand it. But I'm beyond that. Like, mentally, as a fan, I am checked out. I care for one game and one game only, which is the FA Cup final on May 25th. I want to win that game, 90 minutes. It has nothing to do with my season. It has nothing to do with my projection going into next season. Just win that game, beat your rivals, take an FA Cup, and go home. And that's it for me. The next 3 games, I'm just going to be there because I committed to this as a content creator. Other than that, I couldn't care less about them. It is what it is.
If it meant Ten Hag staying, you'd still take in that FA Cup if it meant Ten Hag stays. Oh, he's got to think about that.
Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Because I did think about it a lot. And I was like, would they do that? I will say no. I'm not going to say don't win the cup because at the end of the day, I personally, and this is coming from someone who doesn't even live in England, I just love the FA Cup. I love the FA Cup so much. I love the heritage of the FA Cup. I love the fact that it's the oldest tournament in the sports history. It was the first cup that was invented. I love all that about it. I've actually, for a year, when I started learning about the Premier League when I was younger, I learned a lot about the heritage of the FA Cup. I used to love that. I used to be so angry that during my time when I started watching United, we didn't win an FA Cup until Louis van Gaal. That's how long it took me personally to see an FA Cup. So I was very happy when we did that. I wouldn't say, yeah, lose it in order to get rid of Ten Hag. But I also, it's very hard for me to think that Ineos are that dumb. They're going to be like, oh, see, neglect everything that happened. He won a trophy. Even though he won it by hook or by crook, we're going to give him another season. There's no way. I don't think Ineos are that stupid. There is no way Ineos are looking at it as it's results-based analysis. Oh, he won the cup? Yeah, it means he's a good manager.
It's
There's
really
no way.
It's really interesting because a lot of Arsenal fans I know who I would probably put into the sort of standard FC bracket right now. So I know them from social media, and they're just sort of trophies are all that matters. They're the same individuals that when I first started interacting with them on Twitter, used to talk. Talk to people asking about their club. They all stated that as happy as they were to win those FA Cups under Wenger, they felt that it prolonged his stay, which stopped them from being a team that could genuinely win the Premier League. So it's one of those things. I would never say give up an FA Cup. I want the FA Cup. I want the trophy because it's a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. But if it led to him staying and it was another year, another 2 years without progression, then you start the rebuild. It takes 3 or 4 years to start competing. And then maybe 6 or 7 years down the line, you win a league title. You could also look back and go, if we'd have just lost that final and got rid of him, we could have been winning FA Cups and bigger trophies a lot quicker. And then you wouldn't even think about it. And that's the decisions around this. The only time it's going to make sense is when we look back in the future, if that makes sense. If we lose the final, we'll be disappointed. If the manager goes, if someone new comes in and we become a much stronger team, a more competitive team, and in 3 years' time we're winning trophies, competing for the league, got a chance of winning Champions Leagues, you won't really think about it anymore. It kind of falls out of your mind. And I think that's the problem for a lot of United fans is, especially of a certain generation, a lot of them are fatigued and tired and upset with how things have gone. And I know some people think it's an entitlement, but I do think there's a certain level of entitlement you feel when your club spends as much as anybody else. So if we were spending like Fulham for 10 years, I think people wouldn't expect to win just because of what we were. Because we're spending the same as Fulham. Wages are the same. Transfer fees are the same. We would expect to be where Fulham are. But it's because we spend like City and we spend like Real Madrid, but we're nowhere near that level that we get annoyed. And people twist that into entitlement. So of course I want to win. I also agree with Staffy. I don't think the people making the decisions are going to sit there and go, right, because he won that FA Cup, he's going to be in a title race next year.
Louis Van Gaal
They haven't,
after an FA Cup. It's not going to happen.
It seems to me, though, that they haven't made up their mind on Ten Hag. Because if they made up their mind, well, they'd either sack him or do what we did, have him in the job, but still make movements for other managers, right? So,
but how do you know that they're not doing that, Lawless? That's the thing. You don't know.
They might, but yeah, obviously there's links to
most of them are active, by the way, in the summer, because most of these people in Ineos, they're not even working yet. They start working in June and July. If I'm correct, Terry, the only one who's working actually right now under the club, is Wilcox.
I think it's a really good challenge by Lawless. My sort of pushback on it would be this: we were linked to lots of different people that were going to be our CEO. Some of them are actually now at the club in some kind of capacity, like Blanc as an example. Dan Ashworth is coming in to do a sporting director role. But there was a number of other names that we were linked to. Not one single media outlet, nobody said the word Omar Barada. In fact, outside of Manchester City, nobody knew who he was. But he has a very good track record internally. That is, it's hopium, of course, but that's what I'm hoping for, is that actually we know what we're doing. We're just letting the media speculate, but we do know what we're doing. And at the end of the season, the announcement will happen, and everyone's going to go, oh, it's him. And if that does happen, that for me would be the biggest indicator that we are moving in the right direction. If you can appoint your new CEO and then your new manager, and it's gone almost completely under the radar, that for me would be so different to anything we've done at Man United in the past decade. That for me is an amazing sign. You know, what's the opposite to a red flag? Is it a white flag? I don't know. No one ever says that. But green flag. Whatever I was thinking of when in the Olympics, when you do like long jump and that, it's either a white flag. But it's for me that would be a green flag. It would be that for me is such a great sign, a great sign that we are operating like a big club again, where certain things are just quite. Liverpool do it so magnificently well. You just don't hear the leaks. You just don't hear the rumors. Like no one knew that Klopp was thinking of going, and then bang, it just breaks. That is how you should be operating. At Man United in the last decade, that was us in that circumstance. It would have been leaked for 2 or 3 months. It would have been coming up for 2 or 3 months because of the way we operate. So I hope so.